Train the muscles, not the joints.
Welcome back to Natural Gland Bodybuilding. And today I want to talk to you about a couple ways that you can tell that you're lifting too heavy too often. Now, one thing that I've seen from a lot of natural bodybuilders along the way, and I still see it to this day in the gym and multiple gyms that I've trained in, and you see it also on social media and so forth, is that people get caught up in chasing PRs and gaining strength, which is fine. I totally agree that you need to gain strength in order to gain muscle to a certain point, as long as, of course, you're not getting injured from doing that and you're not tweaking the joints in the process. How much or how often you need to do this in order to get the optimal result? A lot of people overestimate how much you need to do it, and they underestimate how effective it is when you do it once in a while. I hope that was clear. So what I'm saying is that they overestimate the need to lift super heavy weights, and I'm talking about 5 reps and below to failure, in order to get results. And I talked to a guy just recently in the gym, and he told me a story of what he realized based on a few conversations I had with him and also his own experience. And one thing that was happening was that he was coming in, and every week he was testing out his 1 rep max on the bench. And at the same time, I don't know how long this took, but at the same time, he started to complain of elbow issues. And one of his elbows was not feeling right. So I told him one day, I said, why don't you stop doing 1 rep maxes and just rep out a bit more, 10 to 15 reps, instead of always being obligated to do this 1 rep max or 2 or 3 reps on the bench, and see what happens. You might be surprised. Your strength might go up, as well as the injuries go away. So like most advice I give, it was pretty much ignored for a long time. And then finally, I guess something must have clicked, because this guy tried out what I was saying. And he came up to me just recently and said, hey, you know what? I stopped doing 1 rep maxes for a bit. I took a break from that and I started repping out on the bench. And not only can I get more reps now than I could before, my elbow pain has totally gone away. Like, it's not even a problem. So this is an example of you doing heavyweight too often, especially extremely heavyweight. Like, I never recommend 1 rep maxes, but some people are just hell-bent on doing them anyway. But what I'm saying is 5 reps and below, you don't have to do that. Like, most people do not have to do that often in order to get the benefit from lifting heavy. You could stay 5 reps and above like I do, and only hit 5 to 8 rep sets once every 2, 3, 4 weeks, and then the rest of the time stay 10 to 20 reps, and you probably will get more results from this and less joint issues. And from this story, the first sign that you're lifting too heavy too often is joint pain. That's one of the first things. You'll start getting like inflamed joints, or joints that just feel weird or achy in a strange way, or you start to get like dead muscles where you go to the gym and it just feels like there's no push, like there's just nothing there. That means it's time for a lighter weight day or to take a day off, because what happens is that you've already exhausted that pathway. There's no reason to keep hitting the same pathway. And with heavier poundages, and I know I'm an advocate of high frequency training, but heavier poundages demand more rest. So if you're going to be doing a 2-day split type of system like I do, you won't necessarily be able to get away with doing 5 rep maxes every second day. The only way to really keep that type of frequency is to vary up the rep ranges. And the other assumption people make is then they say, well, geez, Jace, if you can't do heavyweight every single time, then maybe you should take longer rests or more days off. And what I would say to that is that when I take more rest off, it doesn't actually help. I might recover, but then my strength goes down, because then I start to lose the groove. So it's about combining these elements of frequency and heavyweight and lightweight and medium weight, and finding that right mixture. And that's what I describe in my workout programs. I come up with the right mixture that I found seems to work and help you with putting on strength, but not burning it out or tweaking it at the same time. So that's one thing you'll know. So if you're getting tweaked joints, or you're getting dead muscles, you're not recovering, that's a sure sign that you're lifting heavy too often. Now, the other way you know that you're lifting heavy too often is that your strength will not only plateau, but it starts to come backwards. Like, and I've seen this a lot of times with myself or with other people in the gym where they're lifting like, damn it, I just lifted this last week, no problem. Or this was easy 2 weeks ago. And what happens is that the body starts to break down a bit and it's not recovering. It's not able to catch up. And what happens, you start to burn out either nervous system wise, immune system wise, like your recovery system's not up to speed, or the tissues themselves have not fully recovered. And so what happens is that you start to backpedal a bit. And I've said this story a lot of times on this channel, but back in the day, how I learned this was that I was lifting heavy on the bench too often, and I was doing 4 rep sets. This was when I was learning, I was 20 years old. I was learning what was working and what wasn't. And I got obsessed with heavy weight. Heavy weight was on my mind. I always have to lift in the 4 rep range and always hit that bench, right? And what happened was I started to get 3 reps with what I could do 4 reps with. And then it started to barely even be 3 reps. And I was like, what the hell's going on? I'm going backwards. And so I just took a break from heavy weight for 1 workout. And I did 225 on the bench for lots of reps for 3 or 4 sets. And then the next time I came back to benching heavier weight, I could easily get 4 reps again with that same weight. So what I'm saying is that sometimes you are underestimating the synergy that you get from repping out and increasing that blood flow to the area. It helps the recovery, helps you maintain and perfect the groove. And then when you come back to the heavy weight again, you actually get stronger. So it's kind of ironic. Using lighter weight helps you get stronger sometimes, as long as you have enough heavy weight days. And I would recommend once every 2-3 weeks, that's usually enough for you to do a compound lift in the 5 to 7 rep range. Otherwise, I'd recommend 10 reps or at least 8 reps and above. And that's really where my sweet spot is. That's where I find I get the best results and the best recovery and the best overall look in the body, as well as feeling and strength. So it's the best of both worlds. You get some strength, you get some hypertrophy, and at the same time, I guess it's the best of 3 worlds. No injuries, or at least less tweaks and strains. So yeah, that's what I got to say about that. If you're doing heavy weight all the time, you might want to take a look at some lighter weights once in a while. And I think you're going to get a lot better benefit over the long run. And that's what this is about. It's about what works, not what your ego is telling you to do. So I hope this helped out in your training. Thanks a lot for watching. If you need to get a hold of me, just go to naturalglandbodybuilding.com. And thanks to the Patreon supporters, and take care for now. Mountain.